Unified, Week 22, Chapter 22, Opening Channels for Truth. Sometimes it might appear to you that your mind still resists this knowledge. Of course, that isn't accurate, but it is as if there were two or more parts of you, each with independent ideas and drives. Your head is one such part. For ages, your head has been in charge. You've been educated to use your head. Learning its logic and training its neurons is given top billing in this world. The head is king. Jobs that require head-trained skills pay more. The intelligentsia are an elite. They even live in their own ghettos. Suddenly, your head is told to take a back seat. As if that weren't bad enough, you then give power to your heart. To your head, the heart is merely an emotional marshmallow. It doesn't have any logic, any systematic way to memorize, any habits, and any conditioning. Yet, you want to put that underling in charge. An internal struggle appears to ensue. For a while, you do just fine following these lessons exactly. You let your heart guide from its connection to cosmic intelligence. Then suddenly your head with its training, logic and conditioning struggles for its life. What are its main weapons? Doubts. You go through a period of doubting. You doubt your signals, you doubt the communication in your quiet periods, you doubt the wisdom, even of this course. You doubt your manifesting nature. This is the only way the head thinks it can regain supremacy. It actively argues. It interjects its own thoughts loudly and clearly. You can't help but hear. These are the thoughts you're used to. They have yelled at you for ages. They're precisely the reason you aren't experiencing God's qualities all the time. It is not the heart's nature to argue back. It doesn't need to. It knows that the little head can never win in the long run. The heart knows its divine nature, its immortality, and its connection to the cosmos. Nothing the head yells can begin to penetrate its hard shell. Nothing. So the heart just remains peaceful, gentle, and all-knowing. Does this sound familiar? It probably does. If the head has had its way, you no doubt have started and stopped this course several times before getting to this point. Maybe you have had to take 2 weeks to get through some of the lessons, or maybe you're one of the lucky ones and just ignored that babbling child screaming for attention. This week, witness that head yelling for attention and know it for what it is. Witness, but don't buy into it. Eventually, the head will discover its own true blessing. It is neither being abandoned to oblivion nor being relegated to a second-class position. Instead, you're buying a new computer hardware with an open account on software. With that, anything the head wants to know, it can have. It won't be restricted to what it could cram into its education or remember from your few experiences. Then, whenever you ask for your head's help, it gives with total accuracy. Its success is guaranteed. The heart becomes its best friend. Nay, its inseparable spouse. Actually, it's a royal internal wedding. Like the helium atom, it can't really exist alone. The helium atom is unstable by itself, so 2 atoms combine. It is found in nature as H2, head and heart, equal H2 as well. So far, this course has emphasized your quiet period with your higher self signal as the form of communication with your higher self. You tune in on the thoughts you know are coming from yourself. These quiet periods, however, are not the only way yourself can be in touch with you. They may not even be the best way for you. They are, however, the foundation and the backbone. If ever you feel that there may be another good way to communicate with your higher self, don't be afraid of it. Just be sure to use the same safeguards. Always get your higher self signal. It's always there when you're really communicating with your higher self. Always close your aura to all but your higher self and clear your aura of uninvited influences whenever needed. Before you try another form of communication, ask your higher self in the conventional way if it is in your highest and wisest interest to communicate in that other way. Use your yes and no signals and don't ignore a no answer. There are many ways to so communicate. The Ouija board is popular, as are the tarot cards. Even a standard deck of playing cards can be used to communicate if the meaning of the cards is clearly predetermined. A newly revived method uses runes. The pendulum is also very popular. A light table can be used. 2 people put their hands lightly on the table, facing each other. They close their auras to any uninvited influences, state their high spiritual purpose, and unify with God. Then they ask that the higher self or one of them communicate by raising the table. 2 of the 4 legs will rise toward one of them when both are perfectly unified with God and each other. It may take a few minutes of quiet submission. From then on, the procedure is the same as with your quiet times. 3 taps of the tables means yes. It also means that what you say aloud is correct communication from the higher self. 1 tap is no. Both of you can communicate with the higher self since you are, after all, one. When the table first rises, ask, is the table clear of any uninvited influences? Heal any influences until you get a yes answer to that question. Then, ask the higher self to identify itself by tapping the letters of its name one at a time. Throughout the communication, be on guard for any uninvited influences and heal them as needed. If you have a loved one who has taken this course diligently to this point, the 2 of you can practice your communication using a light table. You must believe, indeed know, that the table will rise, or this form of communication will not work. If your head throws in doubts, you may have to wait until your head and heart are more integrated. The main exercise for this week is yet another form of communication, writing. Every day this week, enter the quiet period as usual, then instead of speaking out the communication, write it down. This isn't flashy. It isn't automatic in the sense that you lose control of what the pen does. You are simply writing out the communication you have been speaking out or thinking. Notice how smooth and effortless it is. Don't judge what you're writing. Just write. Read it later for meaning. This is the way many great manuscripts have been born. It is the way many scientific breakthroughs have come. Use this method often enough. It gives you a record for posterity. How many times have you been surprisingly impressed with what you've said during your communication, only to forget it? Using this writing method, you have a record. End of chapter 22.